This is Trabr. We're creating the technology and the ecosystem for everything building. We're creating a market network which boasts a marketplace and a mobile-first, cloud-based suite of project control tools for builders, consumers, trades, suppliers, for everybody. All on the smartphone, all remote, all mobile, all for building. This is Trabr, and this is a building conversation. G'day, this is Tony Huxley from Trabr Limited. I'm delighted to be joined today by the head of Cape Cod Australia and in his spare time the President of the New South Wales HIA, Rob Moerman. G'day Rob.
G'day Tony, how's things?
Good. Thanks for joining us, really appreciate you making the time. So I wanted to ask Rob a bunch of questions today. He's obviously been involved in the building industry for a heck of a long time. So fantastic to get some insights and some of his experience to share with you all. So maybe if I could start off, Rob, just by asking, I believe you run what's arguably one of Australia's largest home renovation building companies. Maybe if I could get you to give me a bit of an elevator view of the business, which is Cape Cod Australia.
Okay, Cape Cod Australia have been in business for about the past 50 years. We are a design, compliance, construct business, so we take it through the whole process, and pretty much our business works from Palm Beach north to Waterfall in the south to Katoomba in the west. So pretty much Sydney metropolitan area is our hunting ground, and we build between the $150,000 mark to the 1.5 million would be the range that we would actually specialise in.
That's a big range.
It is. So yeah.
How many would you do a year, do you think?
It's about, well, depending on the values, but somewhere between 80 to 100, 110.
So fairly significant numbers.
Sure. When you take it through that whole process, it certainly keeps us quite busy.
And Cape Cod, from memory, started out as that American two-storey extension. Was that how the brand's genesis?
I think that's where the name certainly came from. But really, Tim Kazubski, who was the founder of Cape Cod Australia back in 1963, was an immigrant, roof tiler, and so he did a lot of the retiles for Monia Wonderlic at the time. And they would strip old roofs off, put new roofs on, and clients would say, "Oh, look at all that space, what can we do with it?" And really that's pretty much where it started.
That's how it started.
Yeah,
wow, seriously.
And then in the 60s, they continued the growth of that and really were the founders of that sort of industry back in 1965 when Cape Cod was incorporated as Cape Cod Australia. So yeah, so it's been a long time. I've been a part of that journey, not since 1965, but certainly since 1977.
No, you look far younger than that.
So yeah, and so that's pretty much where we've gone. But it was great in the 70s and 80s, but then as most burgeoning businesses that splintered, and really lots of people sort of jumped onto the bandwagon at the time. But very few of them do the full design compliance construct.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where we start from the beginning.
Exciting. That's fantastic. Thanks for that overview. So let me, I guess, ask next. We're in the middle of 2020. And I mean, fair income, you couldn't have written a script for this year. It's just been unbelievable, even if you tried. So can I ask, with all that we've all endured thus far this year, how's life different today for a company like Cape Cod Australia and yourself and your team compared to, say, just this time last year?
It certainly hasn't. We certainly came back from our Christmas shutdown period looking forward to 2020 after, what 2019 did sort of drop off quite a bit. So we were thinking, two elections, the whole process of change that we'd gone through, fires to finish off the year, and we thought, okay, we're settling down for something that should start to grow, and then we went straight into this so-called pandemic.
Yeah.
So really. I mean, we made some fairly quick decisions once your telephone stops ringing. But so I guess a snapshot would be we have got 20% less staff.
Yeah.
We've got 30% less turnover, and we took in construction, you work with what's called a pipeline of work. So that's something that's in the throes of whether it be design and or whether it be contracts through to the actual building process. So we knew when the phone was going to stop that things were going to change. So we made some quick decisions. We've actually contracted the business by that 30% purely to make our pipeline last longer, to be able to get to the other side of when the phone starts to ring again, which it currently is, which is fantastic.
That's encouraging.
So probably 20% less staff. We have 50% of our staff working from home on a rotational basis. And I don't think that will ever come back. So I think some of those changes that were accelerated because of the pandemic, I think are here to stay. So so it's
I've heard exactly the same
space
from a lot of people in your position, sort of, running companies. I just think the whole proposition about why have I got 1,000 square metres of floor space? It's just, you don't need it.
That's it.
The obligation to be in an office is insane.
So you really do. We've got things to work through in relation to that, but it's just not going to come back. So which is really great. I mean, it really allows. I've always wanted to be an employer of choice as well, and based in North Parramatta and you live in Maroubra, it's a long way to come to work every day. Trades don't necessarily get a choice.
Indeed. Why haven't that as an impediment when you can actually become
correct? So what's that wonderful saying nowadays? Life-work balance that we all look for.
Can't knock that.
It allows for that, which is fantastic. So they're probably the biggest changes that have happened because of it. So
and what about your contractor force? Is that sort of that's a function of your pipeline, I guess,
correct,
rather than.
So when you shrink the amount of work that you're doing, obviously it does affect your contractors as well. So ultimately.
So tricky maintaining that relationship with those guys and girls?
Particularly when you've been a particularly loyal employer for a lot of years. It's really difficult to say there's not quite as much work as there was before. Most of people within any industry, it's quite tight. So everybody gets to know everybody. So they generally find a space. But I think even though we've been extremely privileged in many respects through this pandemic to be able to keep working, there has been a reduction in your ability to earn. So, however, that will come back.
You've got to respond to it either way.
Exactly.
Rob Moerman, thanks for your time. It's been fantastic. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Good on you.